I just think you have to follow your heart. You just have to believe in what you feel inside, follow that passion, follow your heart, follow your dreams.
Welcome to Bigger Than the Hustle podcast, where I bring you real conversations with entrepreneurs on how they live their life outside their business. We deep dive into the energies, the motivations, the mindsets, and habits, and the disciplines that make them successful in their life, which in turn allows them to be successful in their business. Now, today I've got a special guest with me. Her name's Vina. I've known her for over 20 years, surprisingly, as she is my wife's sister. She's a business owner from Leeds. She has her own beauty salon. I've seen her grow as a person and a business owner over the last 20 years. And we have helped each other out as well in terms of sort of advice and support and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to her. Hello, Vina.
Hi.
How are you
Bhavik.
doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, well, thank you. So if you could just give me a little bit of an insight into yourself in your words, and then we'll go from there.
Tell you a little bit about myself. I've had a small beauty salon in Leeds for around 20 years now. And I've been in the beauty industry about 27 years. And I just love it and still love it and still want to do it and still want to help and serve and make people feel good.
Perfect. Now, if we, you just mentioned there, 20 years you've had your business, 27 years you've been sort of in the trade, if you say, honing your craft. So in that sort of time period, with the initial 7 years to where you've sort of gained a skill set, and then the thought process that went into you saying, actually, do you know what, I can take this probably and do that by myself. What do you think gave you the belief that that was possible for you?
Well, I was very lucky that the opportunity just landed on my lap to buy this business. But then you have the question in your mind, should I do it? Can I do it? And I think having the background that I come from, having grown up in a family business and my mum being so supportive and encouraging and a very strong woman, strong businesswoman, shrewd businesswoman, that I had it in my mind that yeah, I can do this. And obviously I was very blessed that 75% of my clients from where I was working wanted to follow me. So that was a real sort of guarantee that it was going to succeed. But nothing's a guarantee when you open that door that first day and you think, is the phone going to ring? People going to turn up? And luckily they did. So yeah.
And I think having the obviously, like, I know you were part of a family business from a long time. When you were growing up, your mum had a business which she ran more or less single-handedly. So that sort of strength, I think that sort of strength that you saw and all the sort of ups and downs, highs and lows, you lived it with her. It wasn't a case of she went through it by herself, because with most family businesses, that's how it is. Everyone sort of goes through the highs and lows together. So seeing your mum set up her, run her business, I'm sure you understood the hard work involved in what you do when you have your own
absolutely business. But you see, I think because my mum my father died when we were very young, it was a family business. We had no choice but to help. There was no way out of it. So literally, I learned how to run that business inside out myself, working with my mum. So it wasn't so scary setting up on my own, because I knew about profit and loss. I knew how to work out VAT. The basics, I already had that knowledge. So I'm very blessed that I had that experience, and working with customers face to face, knowing how to speak to the public, being public facing. All of those skills came naturally to me because of doing it from the age of 10, really.
And like you said, you know your ability to interact with people, which you picked up when you were at, it was Harvard Nichols, wasn't it? You were at before your
Yeah, so as soon as I qualified, I started a small business actually, in a hair salon. I rented a room for 3 years, and so that luckily, when you're in a hair salon, you've got a captive audience, you've got a captive customer base that you can just promote your services to. And then after 3 years, because I was only 19 when I did that, and after 3 years of working with 40-year-olds, which I thought were really old at the time, I wanted to work with young people my own age. So yeah, an opportunity came up to work at Harvey Nichols, and I was lucky enough to get a position there, and I became manager of the beauty department in there. There was a hair salon, a hair and beauty, a Veda hair and beauty salon there from opening.
Yeah. And you know, since you've had your business, since you've opened, obviously you've learned a lot, not just about the business, but about yourself as a person, and all the ways you have to grow, and all the ways you have to change, and all the things you have to learn in order to continue on this path for the amount of time you have. You know, there's a quite an interesting stat where a lot of small business within the first 3 or 4 years close, and only a small percentage continue. And you know, you're in that category where you've been going for 20 years, like I said, and I'm sure that's going to carry on longer. So, in terms of the things that you had to put in place to make sure you had longevity in your business, what do you think are the things that you did correctly which allowed you to stay open?
Oh, there's so many factors. I mean, setting standards, high standards for yourself, for your business, for your staff, but also being caring. I think the public, customers, clients, that they know when you genuinely care, and it's gaining their trust, and you've got their best interests at heart. I think at the end of the day, that's what creates longevity and loyalty from clients and customers, that they want to come back again and again and again to experience what you offer, you know, and that's because we genuinely care about our clients. I've been in touch with my clients throughout this time, keeping in touch, checking that they're all right, because we genuinely care. We spend a lot of time with those people.
And I think it's that authenticity and that genuine want to look after people. And I think that comes across, you know, with a lot of service-driven businesses where it's not a product you're selling, but it's people. You're dealing with people, and it's people dealing with people. And the importance is the interaction that you have, and that genuine. I think people feel that now, you know, in terms of when someone really does want to look after you, or if they just want to do the job and get out. You know, I see that with tradespeople as well. The people that want to look after you and do a good job, you see they take their extra time and do it, and you're more likely to go to them. And the ones that just want to quickly do the job and leave, get paid, and go, you know, you see that as well. And I think especially if you have your own business, you notice that more. It's like
you do notice it more.
Do you know what I mean? Because you have a certain standard that you adhere to. You're not gonna let that drop, even if even if you look after your own family or you look after your clients. Everyone is the same. And I think I've always said, if you have trust within yourself, no matter who comes through your door, you know you're going to do your best ability, right? And a lot of younger people that are setting their business up, that I've helped and I've coached, I say one thing is always be your truth. Do the best you can every single customer. Don't worry about where the next 10 are going to come from. Just remember the next one, do your best. And slowly that happens. Would you say that probably is the same way you think?
Definitely. And you're only as good as your last treatment or service, or whatever you've done your customer, the feedback, the experience that they've had, you're only as good as your last one, because it doesn't matter what you did 5 years ago, it's what you do today that matters. And it's when people leave and people go away, how they feel, how they look back and think that was amazing, or or that hopefully not, it was rubbish,
So, you know, anyone looking to start out on their own path, you know, we're in a time of uncertainty, we're in a time of fear right now, and a lot of worry, but we're in a lot of time of opportunity as well. If you want to look at the positive side, there's so many new
Absolutely.
avenues, and there's so much more information out there that we can literally turn our hand to anything if we really wanted to. What advice would you give anyone looking to set up on their own path? They've got a little idea or a little skill that they think maybe they'll be able to grow and help people with. What would your advice be to them?
Oh, I just think you have to follow your heart. You just have to believe in what you feel inside, follow that passion, follow your heart, follow your dreams. And it doesn't matter if somebody once said to me when I announced at the age of 16 that I wanted to go into beauty therapy, because typically Asian families, it's doctor, lawyer, accountant.
Yeah.
And when I said this, the person said to me, "You'll never be successful. It's too competitive." And actually, that did push me to prove that person wrong.
Mm.
But at the same time, it is competitive out there. There's so many people doing the same services. But if you look, there's hundreds and hundreds of hairdressers. There's hundreds and hundreds of cafes. They're all full. They're all busy. Whatever it is a person wants to set out and do, you just do it, follow your heart, and success will come because you believe in it and you want to do the best you can. I think it doesn't matter how many people are out there doing the same thing you want to do. What will be different is you,
Yeah.
that person.
And it's your fingerprint on it, isn't it? You know, everyone has fingerprints, but no fingerprint is the same. And you know, if you want to be an accountant, be the best accountant you can be, because no one has seen you as an accountant. Or you want to cut grass, you cut the grass because no one's seen you cut grass. No matter if there's hundreds of people. You know what I mean? And I think that's the faith I try and give younger people, to say, don't look at the whole world, just look at yourself and know that you can be the best you can be. And people will come, and that's, you know, I believe that strongly, you know, and having the self-belief and the faith and the people around you to support that journey and give, you know, keep nudging you in that direction. So I think that is so helpful, that I've noticed in my perspective. So you know, if we move forward from that, what do you think inspires you most today?
Oh gosh, I think what inspires me is seeing people helping other people, like putting others above themselves.
Mhm.
That inspires me to be a better person and question myself. What can I do to help? Um, it really does inspire me when I see all the different causes, all the different um, individuals that are helping, individual charities, everything, all the good work that's going on in the world, that I find so inspiring.
And I think there's no better example than your own mother. You know,
Absolutely, yeah.
the amount that she's given, not just to her family, but her community and every day. You know, she's suffered with her health just from the amount she's giving. You know, and
She
I think
has.
you know, she finds it hard to take a step back or say no, because it's always there. What can I give? How can I share? You know, and when you have that kind of energy behind you, or you come from that kind of energy, you
Yes.
see that, because that's your perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to have that around you, because it gives you a real understanding of life. What do you reckon?
Oh, absolutely. I think, oh gosh, my mom is the biggest inspiration in my life, and she makes me want to be a better person every day. Um, and seeing the good she does, um, everyone she touches, everyone she meets, whether it's a blessing with words, financial support, it just goes on and on and on. She has so much to give, and it really helps me be a better person and be that way myself. It sets me an example for me. It's
And
yeah,
and you know,
she's a great teacher.
well, as you were growing up, you know, during those formative years, you know, when you're younger and easily pliable, when you're easily moldable, and you listen to a lot of things, and there's a lot of information input you have. How do you think both your parents, I know you weren't, your dad wasn't around for long, but your mom sort of carried on the baton and grew and took on that role. How do you think those influences have helped you be the version of person you are today?
Well, seeing the hardship that my mom went through, I think it's always when you've got a tough day or a tough thing going on, I just think, well, my mum had so much more to deal with, that if she could deal with that, I can deal with this. And yeah, she always remained positive, always smiling, and just smiling through it. That is what's the biggest thing. And she's just such a positive energy, and she doesn't let anything stop her. She won't let anyone stop her, and she won't take no for an answer. And I love that about her. I used to find it a bit embarrassing when I was younger. I was like, "Whoa!" But do you know what? I love it now. I love it that she does it. I love that she won't take no for an answer, and she's a force to be reckoned with.
And she's a huge ball of energy. Do you know what I mean? It's like you sense her coming down the road even when she's not even got to you.
You do. She's amazing.
And I've always said, it's so amazing to have people like this around you. Like there's so, like I said, the five senses is what we sort of live by, but the sixth sense and the seventh sense of energy, aura, soul, these things, I think now, for me, I sense a lot more. They emit so much energy that I sense someone before they
can pick up on them. Yeah.
Before they open mouth, before they say anything, it's almost, I know what's going on. Like so much is given off just by that aura, and being more sensitive to it, I think for me, first of all, it's helped me be more empathetic, because everyone has, I understand everyone is going through their own struggle. No matter what the veneer in life looks like, everyone is going through their own struggle. And it's sort of saying, actually, do you know what? How can I be of service or be of help if you need it? I'm not very open in terms of going out and saying, how, who needs help, but anyone who comes to me and says, I need some help, I need some support, 100% I'm there, because I feel that my life and my journey and my, the way I've lived and the foundation I have, if I can help anyone around me, make it just a little bit easier, then it's worth it for everything that I've been through, And again, that I think comes from parenting, that comes from upbringing, but that comes from all the people around me, people like you, people like my own family, people like, my kids, just keep teaching me every day that, there's so much more to go, and there's such a long road ahead still of us. And if we can think like this now, then, it's only going to be a joyful experience, because we're always learning, Do you believe we're always in a learning process with everything that we go through in life?
I think we could choose to be in that mindset. I don't think everyone chooses to be in that mindset. But I do choose to be in that mindset. Even while I'm not working now, I'm doing online courses. I'm reading to expand my knowledge. It's a constant. I have a thirst for knowledge, so I'm lucky in that way that I like to learn from people. I listen to things. I read books. I'm just in that state of mind that I just like to learn from people. Even meeting a stranger, I like to learn from them.
Yeah. And it's like, I listen to quite a few things. So, you listen to podcasts, you watch YouTube, things, books, whatever. And what I find is, even if you spend 2 or 3 hours listening to something and you got one thing from it that you would not have got from anywhere else, that 3 hours was worth that one moment.
Worth it. Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of growth, or maybe a little bit of insight that you can learn that will stick with you and help you. And if that never happened, then that thought process wasn't going to happen. And then,
but even if you've heard it before, you might have forgotten it. it just brings it to the forefront, and you think, yeah, actually, why aren't I doing that? I already knew that, but I'm not doing it, and I need to do it.
Mm.
So it's reminding, even, like, it's someone said it in a different way, and it just goes in,
Yeah.
better. It clicks somehow.
And I've, Naji, that's always stuck to me. It's when the student is ready, the teacher turns up. And what I take from that is you can hear it so many times, but only when you're ready to hear, or when you're going through something that you need to hear certain things, the same line is said and suddenly it clicks. That's what that meant,
Yes.
And like I said, reading books again, or listening to things again, or having the conversation with different people, your perspective, your listening changes, and when your listening changes, you truly start hearing things. But when you're not ready, I think with younger people especially, we knew it all. By 16, 18, we know it all, right? So we don't want to hear our parents telling us this or that, because I know it all already, right? And as you go on and as you get older, you realize, actually, I don't know shit, really. And you've got 3 kids. Well, in the loosest term of the words, kids now, right? But they'll always be your kids, right? So how, what kind of personal actions do you live by, which hopefully will give them a little bit of guidance without you saying words? It's the things you do that give them guidance. What kind of things do you think you do?
Yeah, because the words, they don't work.
Yeah.
It's that I've learned that.
Yeah.
I just have to be the best person I can be, and live by example, lead by example. They're the reason I get up. They're the reason I continue to learn. That's the reason I've signed up for online courses, to show to them, not just for them, for my own knowledge, but also it shows an example that we're always learning, and we'll never know everything. And hopefully, I think back to myself as a teenager and thought, oh, I know it all, whatever. But now looking back, the age I am, I know the things that my mum, how she lived her life even then, I am using them as lessons today. So hopefully, they might not take those lessons now, but they are planting seeds that maybe in the future they will look back and think, okay, actually, mum did this. Maybe I should try this. So those memories never go away, even though they might not see it now. They're in their own little world now, living their journey. But maybe one day, what I have said, a word, a sentence, what I've done, my actions, they hopefully will take something from it.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
And I think, like you said, I live by actions more than words now. I think for me, I want to show what I'm about, as opposed to just keep saying, because I hear a lot of people say, I am healthy, or I do this, I do that, but I don't see anything that tells me that. So I know for me, words are one step, but actions live. They sink in because you see it, right? So it's like when we were younger, my dad used to have a shop as well, and every Saturday we were not allowed to go town with our friends. He would be, you're coming to the shop and you're sitting at home. We would sit all day. We were like 13 or 14, so we couldn't drive or anything like that. So we would just sit, and a lot of the time me and my brother would just get bored, but we'd just sit. And we'd always say to my mum when we got home, we were bored, we didn't do anything. My mum would always say to my dad, why do you tell them to come? And he goes, because I don't want them going to town and hanging around in that space. I want them to see what I do, so that it shows them where this all comes from. It doesn't just come from just going out and
magically appear.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's funny that now I see that when I open my business, I realize what it's going to take. It's going to take effort. It's going to take work. It's going to take sacrifice to make sure this is going to work. And I saw my dad do so long. even when we were in London, when we had the music shop, the amount of hours he used to work. And I'm like, I know there's a lot of mind shifts changing in terms of, how the quality of your work and how much you should work. But I think there's no harm in understanding hard work. You don't be scared of hard work. Hard work, I think if you have that mindset already, then nothing is hard, because you already know that it's going to take effort, it's going to take discipline, and there's certain things I'm not going to be able to do, but I'm fine with that because it's more important that I live my life in this way.
Yeah, I think some people, I've heard it many times. Oh yeah, I want to set up my own business so I've got more free time. But unfortunately, to get the free time, you have to put the work in first.
Yeah.
It just doesn't suddenly turn into like, oh yeah, I've got loads of free time. It takes so much, even when you're not in the place of business, at home, you're thinking, you're planning, strategizing, whatever it might be. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah. And I remember when I started my business, so I was like 22 or 23. And then I remember those first 4, 5, 6, 7 years when it was 6 days a week. And I didn't see it as work. I just really enjoying the process. I was just really enjoying the journey. And a lot of my friends would go out like on a Friday night or Saturday night. You're coming out. Actually, I can't come out because I'm opening the shop tomorrow. So I can come out for a bit, but I can't stay out all night, whatever. And they would be like, oh, and then at that time, I didn't really feel it so much because I knew I had a bigger purpose. I knew, the business needs I needed. I made this decision, so I'm going to stick to the decisions I made. And then when I got to say like 30, 31, and I'm going on 3 or 4 holidays a year and enjoying my time where they're like, oh, we can't go because we have to work and things like that. I was like, well, and they said, but it's all right for you because you have your own business, you can do that. And I said, do you remember those years when we were 23, 24? And you used to say to me, can you come out? No, I can't. It's that investment I made then that allows me to have my life now. When someone says I want to go on holiday, I say, all I have to ask myself, do I want to go? If I want to go, that's fine. I'll make it happen. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's so important. I feel so blessed that I made those decisions young. Well, because now, even if you think now, you probably agree with me, 21, 22, 23 sounds so young, and it probably is. But I felt so ready at that point. But now I see a 21, 22-year-old, I'm like, are you ready for anything? And I even like, when we got married, so you got married, quite young. I remember your time. And then when me and Vash got married, that was 27. And I now look back and I think, really, still probably didn't know myself at all. You probably knew yourself less at that time. And then you were forced from your home life into, like with your parents, and you lived with the in-laws and things like that. And you took up that mantle coming from home. So how was that for you? Moving, change, because your whole life changed at that point, right? And you were responsible for so many more people. I know you had already a maternal spirit about you in terms of caring and looking after. So it was probably a case of, well, I just do what I have to do. But there's so much negativity now around that in terms of, oh, do you have to live with in-laws? I don't want to live with in-laws. Do you know what I mean? And it's how did you see it when you first got married?
For me, it wasn't a very big transition in some ways because I lived with my grandparents. I was used to communal living, and not many people are used to that these days. But communal living back then, I suppose, was more the norm. And so moving to my in-laws and wanting to I've been very brought up very traditionally, very old-fashioned way, to be a dutiful daughter-in-law. So I did everything that I thought, I just did everything that was asked of me. I just wanted to be a good daughter-in-law. So yeah, that's all I did. But after 6 years, I was 19 when I got married. So after 6 years, you start to question, like, what's it all about? What about my happiness? What about my needs? And then that's when I took the decision, or conversation started around wanting to live on our own,
Getting
because
your own place
I
and
just,
stuff, right?
yeah, because basically my needs were put to one side
Yeah,
and I was just looking after my in-laws.
yeah,
And so yeah, I just felt I needed to take some time
yeah.
to spend on our marriage, on Bert's and my marriage, and just to live our own lives really the way we wanted to live it.
And I think, a lot of people in a similar situation even now, where they're living within a space that maybe it's not their own. Maybe, you moved into somewhere where it's your in-laws or it's your husband's parents stuff, and the dynamics always can be different. Like my relationship with my parents, living when I go to their house and then when I'm in my own house, is different. Our relationship is different when we're around different people. And I think it's as you get older, you become more, I think, aware of what you are happy with and what you're not happy with, and you're more, you're more vocal about it, or maybe you're less willing to compromise, less willing to say,
Yeah,
actually, I'm not willing to do that. It's like even when when Versha goes home to Leeds sometimes and the kids are there, and before she used to say, "Oh, are you not going to go and stay with your parents stuff?" And I was like, I have my own space. Do you know what I mean? Like now, this is my home, this is my space. So I'll go and see them, but I'm coming home and I'm staying at home. And even if that's on my own, I'm cool with that because I like my company anyway. And I think, as when you find that peace within yourself, and when you know yourself so much more, you don't need so many external things around you. Even sort of, it's so good to have that foundation of family around me, but I don't need it as if all the time. I need me to be me, and then I can be the best version of me for them. And
that's
only
it.
when I'm comfortable with myself, I can be good and honest with all those people around me. So, people
Yeah,
that are
it's taking care of yourself first,
yeah,
and feeding your soul, feeding, looking after your mind, your body, and then you can show up for everyone else. You can
yeah.
be that strong, um, support for everyone else. Because if it's a weak support, then everything comes crashing down.
And I think also, like I said, if it's a weak belief system within yourself, you get pulled in a lot of different directions. You think you like
Mm,
this, and then suddenly something else comes, and you think that you enjoy this, and then you don't like this, and then you do like this, and then all the whole time, everyone around you is seeing this, you know, insecurity or ups and downs, and it's not a great space to be around, especially when you can see it. And then you can try and help. Again, if the person is not willing to listen or be open to what you're trying to say, it's tough, and you're just trying to help. You're just trying to be a useful human being to someone else, to try and help them on their journey. And a lot of that. And a lot of the time they can take it, that person can choose to be offended by a lot of stuff you say. And sometimes relationships can completely break down because of that, because you're seeing something that maybe they're not seeing and they're taking offensively. And I suppose what I've seen with the people around me is that if sometimes you just give people space and they'll come towards you when they need to come towards you. And a lot of time I just let people sort their own shit out, because
mm,
only when they're ready to listen or they're open or they've got to a crisis point where it's like, I really need something now. I've tried and worked out myself, and now I've hit a wall and I'm stuck. And at that point, which is where I was in my life, 10 years ago, that I then opened up completely in terms of people around me, listening and not believing I had all the answers. And since that mind has changed from fixed to growth, to say, you're never going to know all the answers, and there's people around you. And when I listen and listen and listen, I realize that's why we have two ears and one mouth. Open them more, shut that more, and that's where we grow. So people that are in a relationship now, so maybe they're a girlfriend, boyfriend, maybe they're living together and they want to step down the path of marriage, which I know a lot of people don't think about so much now. But if they did want to, what do you think the conversations they need to be having with each other before they decide this?
I think it's having the same values. Values are so important. Um, Values of what make you you, and having the same values. 'Cause some people believe giving to charity, is good. Some people believe charity begins at home. Some people believe, serving is good. Some people think, well, I don't know, just
Yeah,
different values.
yeah, yeah.
I think having the same values in life.
So, so we talk about being together as a couple, we talk about love. What do you think self-love means to you?
Oh, self-love is definitely about taking care of yourself, your mind, your body, whether that's doing yoga, meditation, eating the right food. That's self-love. That's, showing care for yourself, but also being kind to yourself with words, like criticism, self-criticism. Um, not being hard on yourself if something didn't quite go, you didn't reach that goal today. Well, you didn't reach it today, but you've, how far forward have you come today?
Mm.
You've made progress.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
good. Acknowledge that, and carry
And,
on.
and I think that whole thing, when we talk about being kind to yourself and using kind words, it what resonates with me is that voice in your head. So, like I've always said, if I had a friend that spoke to me like my voice speaks to me, we won't be friends for very long, the amount of abuse it gives me, more, and I'm trying to change that now. So I'm trying to change it consciously to be
Yeah.
my supporter, to push me, to say, actually, all right, it's fine, don't worry about it or don't beat yourself up at it, because I know I'm my biggest, everyone is their own biggest critic, right? We see ourselves in the worst eyes in terms of what because I think we all know what we're capable of, and then we know where we're falling down in that capability. But it's sometimes saying, actually, you know what, Bob, it's all right. It's all right. We know the intention is you did want to do that, but it's tiring. So, if you're tired, just rest. Go to
Yeah.
bed early and don't get up tomorrow. Don't train in the morning if you don't want to. Just
Yeah.
that, And it's those conversations I think you need to have with yourself. And when I go running now, I find that I use that time to have those conversations with myself, to first check in with myself, to try and, just say, because there's so much within us that we know we're capable of, but there's almost so much in this that we know we don't need to do and we don't need to be. And there's so much we need to unlearn from life that's already happened, especially younger years. And we may be a certain way. It doesn't mean we're always going to be that way. Certain people might talk to us a certain way. Doesn't mean we have to accept it anymore. But that comes, I think, when you realize and you take time out to be with yourself.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, listening to your body, listening to your energy levels. We can push, but then if we're running on empty, we're no good to anyone. We crash and burn. We've got to take care of ourselves, because we want to be doing this a long time. We want to be strong, active, positive for a long time, and and I do believe, it all happens at the right time. If you force something, it's almost like you're pushing, putting all this energy into something, and it's just not happening. But when you stop pushing and forcing and just let the universe, let it provide whatever it needs to provide at the right time, it will happen in the right time. And I'm a real believer in that.
And I think as you get older, I've seen so much that at the time I thought, why didn't that happen? That doesn't make sense. It didn't happen. But then you look back and you say it's the best that never happened.
Yeah.
Because this happened. That could never happen if we went down that path. So I think it's I think the two things that came out to me when you were speaking is trust and faith. To say that if you can push and nothing happens, and you can sit back and everything happens. And the game, we're all part of this universe. We're all part of the game, which a lot of the time we don't know what the purpose is and we don't know why we're here. I think we just have to have faith to try and be the best version of ourselves for the people around us, and let the game play out as it's meant to. And like you said, don't put so much friction in the way. Let certain things be. if we're not meant to have certain things, that's fine. If we're meant to have a certain way of life, let it be, you know. And I think when we become more, give ourselves space to think and grow in that space, I think life becomes easier. I think the way we think becomes easier, and we put less energy into worry and stress and all those things that don't serve us, to say, actually, you know what, let it be. Whatever it is will happen. And the people that are meant to turn up will turn up. And the things that I'm meant to have, I will. And the things I'm not meant to, they will serve someone else because they're not meant for me. And I think if we, you know, I know you live like that. I know you're a big believer in that. And being around that, you know, so many people around me thinking this way as well, that it just aids us in the way we live our lives, in the way we carry our journeys, because we see that around us as well. And you know, what do you think is the importance of being, you know, the people around us?
Oh, I think definitely keeping like-minded people around us is so important. Um, you know, you've said it yourself, vibes, energy, you pick up on these things. There's certain people that if they're not happy in themselves, they can drain energy from a room, whereas people who are happy in themselves and they give out that positive energy that feeds a room, lights up a room. You know, um it's so important to have those people around you that really lift you
Yeah.
and make you want to be a better person.
And I think it's the, like I said, as you get older, because you become more aware of yourself, you realize, you know, the people that serve you and the people that are in your life that then make you a better version of yourself. And, you know, as we get older, and that's why, you know, our circle becomes smaller, I believe, because first of all, we don't need to have people around us in that way, where it's just a popularity contest. Because if we're going to choose to spend our time, which is already sort of precious, with certain people, there has to be um, a win-win for both sides. Not just a win for me, but a win for them. You know, we can aid each other and help each other in a certain way.
Yes.
You know, the conversations, the growth we can have together. And even if it's just someone to just sit and have a drink and sit back and say, you know, how's it going, bro? Do you know what I mean? And those, you need those people as well. You know, so it's that, you know, I fill my time with so many things that when I choose to spend my time with certain people, it has to be thought out, and it has to be, you know, where I feel it nurtures my soul or it helps me grow in some way. And if it doesn't, I've purposely distanced myself from those conversations, those groups online, because, you know, I don't need that energy around me, and I need to drown that noise out to make space for the noise that serves me. So, you know, what, you know, talking about things that make us happy, things that make us smile, what makes you happy and what makes you smile today?
Oh, well, I'm lucky enough to live near some really beautiful natural places. Like we've got natural woods, and for me it's nature. Nature just it does give me energy as well, just walking around in the woods, around in the countryside. It just energizes me and makes me feel so happy. Yeah, just looking at a blue sky, even, it makes me happy. Flowers, plants, yeah, I just love it. Love nature.
And, you know, for you as a person to, you know, we're always in a mindset of growth, being people who run our own business, being entrepreneurs, we're always in a mindset of growth, always thinking of adapting and growing. So what skills do you think in your life do you still need to master, learn, or grow to become the next version of yourself?
Skills. I think just to keep learning, like expanding my knowledge. Yeah, just the online courses that I'm doing and reading the books on the type of work I do. So it's just keeping going with learning new skills. And I believe that like I put thoughts out there, and some things will just land in front of me, an opportunity. Someone will say something, someone will, be reading a book, and I thought, oh yeah, I want to learn about that. So it's just, yeah, I don't have a set out kind of path. I just go with
What
my,
I think what fuels your intuition, right? What
yeah,
fuels
I go with
where you need to be,
yeah,
right? And I think
yeah,
honing into that intuition where you trust yourself to say, let me pick up this book and read something, or let me put my attention on here, because I strongly believe that our attentions have energy. Our attention, where we put our thoughts, have energy. And
yeah.
I think a lot of people live their life so almost like head down. So what I mean by that is that um, where it's like if you're riding a bike and you're just looking down, you don't see the road in front of you, and you don't actually have an awareness of what's going on. Not just to have an awareness, but to understand, okay, this is what I need to do to maybe navigate my, bike in a certain way. And I found that when you have your attention, so if you say my attention is on me growing, and I need to grow by surrounding myself with people maybe that are not here yet, but I know that are out there, by putting your attention on not the actual physical person, but by the energy that that person can provide you by being in your life, and saying that actually this is going to help me grow as a person. And that attention draws that towards you somehow, whether it's by someone saying, ring this person, or it's by you seeing something that then pushes you in a certain way, or you then saying, actually, I don't know why I'm going to this conference, but I thought I'll just go. And you sit next to someone that actually is that person, And I think if we became more conscious that our attention does have energy and it does have this magnetic power to attract things into our life, I think we can be, and the reason is not just attracting it, but why do we need it in our lives how is it going to make our light shine brighter? Because if we shine bright, then we can shine bright for the people around us, right? And they can shine their light for the people around them. And I've always found that sort of mindset or that thought process for me has always helped me, because sometimes you think, I'm doing all this and I'm getting no return, but it's like, you're not, because that's what's meant to happen, and these things will happen. Just have faith in the journey and the process, that there's so many people being touched by what you're doing. And it's like even these conversations we have, the reason I wanted to start this because I have so many good people around me, and I have such good conversations. And I think just hearing these conversations from even a third person, we share our thoughts, we share our energy, but that together creates a synergy which ripple effects. So just someone hearing this that may not hear conversations like this around them, to know there are people like us out there that will talk in this way with each other all the time. Because some people, this is alien conversation. Some people don't have conversations like this at all in their life, And I want to almost put it out there to say, this is how we share. This is how we grow as people, by honesty, by truth, and by being who we are, without the veneer, without the gloss, without, we pull our mask down and show, us on a Sunday morning when we roll out of bed. That's us, that is who we are as people, And if we can share this to say, everyone, you all are here for a reason, and there's a purpose to your life, even if you don't see it right now. But it's having the trust and faith in the whole process to say, however short or long we are here on this journey, make it the best we can. And we can only be the best we can when we invest in ourselves and the people around us to do that. So, I know you have a similar thought process to that as well. I just wanted to air that, because a lot of people listening do, message me afterwards and say, it gave me such an insight into this. And I think it's as well, females, I have a lot of women in my life that if they don't have a conversation with one of their friends or one of their relatives like this, maybe even on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, it's alien to them. Females seem to be a lot more open with their feelings, but men, we're not. it's almost like, let's go and have a pint down the pub, and it's always take the piss at each other, we'll have a bit of banter, and that's it. But that's another, way that I want to change with the people around me as well, with the males around me, to say, actually, we need to be a little more open with each other, because, we can't just think that it's all right. I heard that suicide rates in the UK is highest amongst young Asian men. And I believe that's, the culture didn't allow us to be this way. We had to have this sort of provider label, or the label of I'm strong and I don't need any help, right? That stubbornness. And I don't think that's true. I don't think it served me. And I don't think it serves anyone else if anyone's really been truthful. So therefore, this ability for me as an Asian man to have gone through everything that I've gone through, and at the time I felt ashamed. 10 years ago, when I was £250,000 in debt because of all the bad decisions I made, I had a young family, so I felt like I had to step up, and I went through mental torture. But I've come out the other side to have these conversations today, and I believe, I look back at my life, I know that was the best thing that ever happened to me, the worst and the best, because it allowed me to become the version of myself that I am today. And for that, I know spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, I'm the strongest I've ever been. And I am thankful for the universe to say, Bhavik, you've got strength to deal with this. I'm going to put all this shit on your shoulders, and you're going to come out an even stronger person. And that, have you been through any times of trauma and pain yourself where you think that you look back at the time it was tough, but now you look back and you think, you know what, that was a good thing that happened because it made me who I am today?
Yeah, I've been through quite a few difficult times in my life, many actually. But again, I've always sort of used my mom's strength as an example.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think hardship really does make you a stronger person. You either sink or you swim, and you've got to choose to swim. You've got to, because you learn from it. Whatever you think, it's a tough. You think, oh, it's so hard. Why is this happening to me right now? But then later, there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson to be learned from it, and you need to take that lesson and carry it with you. It's there. That lesson is there for a reason.
Yeah.
And so I always look for the lesson in any difficult challenge, hardship, difficulty in my life, whether it's a sick relative or losing someone in your life. There's always something to be taken from it. I believe.
And I think it's I think it's also having the faith that it's happening for you, not to you. And there's a reason that it's happening. And it's almost like saying, it's hard right now. It's tough. But when we come out the other side, when I come out the other side, the person I become because of this is going to be, an upgrade to what I am right now. And that's why I feel I need to go through this. It's like they say, at the other side of the rain, there's sunshine, right? It's not going to keep raining, even though it feels like right now it's thundering and it's storming. Eventually that will ease up. And when the sunshine comes out, you're going to appreciate that even more because you get pain. I understand it now when someone said to me, it's like, you only understand what's really good when you understand what the other opposite is. So you only understand comfort when you understand pain. You only understand happiness when you understand sadness. Because if you only ever knew happiness and comfort, it would just be the standard. It'd be just the fixed thing. So you won't get any enjoyment or any satisfaction because you don't know the other side. You don't know what it is walking up that hill and you're tired. When you get into the car, you sit down, you appreciate that seat. You've sat in that seat all your life, but suddenly you appreciate that seat, And it's because of that journey that you went through, right? So, like for the habits and the disciplines you live your life by, is there any non-negotiables that you think that make you a better person?
I think kindness is definitely a non-negotiable in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think committing to something, like if you're going to do something, do it 100%, even if it's washing a cup, cleaning a floor, whatever it might be, do it 100%. That, to me, there's no reason to do it less effort. That's for me. I have to do whatever I do 100%.
And I think that speaks about you as a person when you can see yourself. And what I mean by that is like the things you do in the dark when no one's watching. It's those things that define you as a person. In terms of, I know that there's certain things that I do that are, if someone else watched me, they're like, you just do that and just get done. Do you know what I mean? But I'm like, I need to do it this way because that's what that I wouldn't be happy with myself, even though no one's going to see it and no one else is going to even notice it. I know, and when I can then put my my tool down and say I did it to the best that I can do it, and maybe even if it's not good enough, that's the best I could have done. I can't sit with myself knowing that I put 50% effort in and I could have done it better. That doesn't sit with me, and that I feel that when I see people around me that live their life like that, it makes me, I see that in them, and that makes me think, how am I living my life like that, And if it's going to take a year extra, let it take a year extra, because the end result will be you and your fingerprint rather than someone else's just to get the job done. I think, we talk about patience. I think patience, like you said earlier, is such, if we could teach this to young people, did you say, shit's going to take time, let it take time. For it to be worth it, some things are just going to take a long time, and enjoy that process, because it's the process you become as a person in that journey, not the thing. It's almost like you'll get to the top of the mountain, and rather than saying, I'm here, you look at the next peak. But it's that the legs you built on the way, the conversation you had with whoever's with you, and then you got there and you're like, wow, I did that, but what's next? Because that is somehow how we become as humans, right? Rather than sitting back and thinking, I've done this whole mountain, you see, there's the next peak. And
I think that's what I've learned to do, is not to just, I used to think about the next goal, even if the goal I'm working towards is just within my reach, within my grasp, I would then go straight on to thinking, right, what's next, before even reaching that goal, because I knew I had it in the bag. But now I know, I sit back, I celebrate, I look back on the journey, like you say, and I acknowledge the entire experience and what I've got out of it. And then I think, right, what's next? And I celebrate, and that's what's being kind to myself. That's what I've learned to do, is to say, well done to me, well done, Vina, you did that. You because that's really important, I think, for your own self-esteem.
And I think, like you said, it's about being present now, isn't it? It's I read this meme, and it says, if you keep one foot in the past and one foot in the present, the one foot in the past and one foot in the future, all you're doing is pissing on the present. And it's true, because when you keep your mind just what's happened or what's going to happen as opposed to actually what's happening right now, you're not giving it any respect. And that's, what is life? It's just this moment right now, isn't it? It's nothing else. It's just this moment right now. What's happened has happened. What's going to happen is going to happen. But what's happening is what we're doing right now. And it's so hard. I know, I try and live that. And I know it's difficult. But you have to almost train, your brain to consciously say, let's sit on this bench and enjoy this pot for a few moments before we move on to the next thing, And I think you find peace within yourself when you can do that, right? When it's not just a constant battle of to do, getting this done.
That's it. Life is not a to-do list.
And we're human beings, not human doings, right?
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I like that.
Right. Okay. So as we near the end of our conversation now, there's a couple more things I'd like to ask you, which will give sort of the listeners a little bit more insight into how you think and what's important to you. Right. So we've reached the end of your life. You know, you're 150 years old. You've done everything you want to do. You've served. You've enjoyed. You've experienced, and you've given everything that you believe you've had to give is done. We're now in the last moments of the last energy you have before you pass on to the new adventure. And you don't have enough energy to speak, but you have enough energy to write. So you've got 3 words on a pen and paper that I'd like you to write that you can leave to say what have served, 3 words that have served you, and hopefully the people around you can help them on their journey as well. What would those 3 words be for you?
Love is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude and forgiveness. Those 3, I think, for me are the most important.
Cool.
I think for anyone, that's the lesson I would leave
from what you've seen so far, right? And I think if those 3 tenets and those 3 pillars that you've just mentioned there, I think they're a basis of a good life for me. When you can keep these things in mind when all this chaotic world that we live in these days somehow gives you some kind of grounding to say life will always be all right if we live by these 3 pillars. So yeah, definitely, 100% agree with that. So now, this podcast is called Bigger Than the Hustle, and right now you're bigger than the world. So what's happened is I've sourced a mic. That mic is connected to 7.58 billion people on this planet. Everyone can hear you. Everyone can understand you. There's no language barrier, and there's nothing to stop them understanding exactly what you're saying. If I gave you that for 30 seconds, what would your message be to the world?
Well, it would be to serve, to help others, to put others above yourself, and you'll never be unhappy. You'll always be fulfilled, because seeing a person's face when you've helped them, even in the tiniest way, it creates happiness within yourself. And I think that's the only lesson really that I would say, to put others above yourself and serve.
And I think when you have a mindset of service, you get back a lot more than you give. And I found that,
Yeah.
And the selfish in us sometimes questions that, but when you then step out of that crazy voice and we step into the journey of service, I think we realize that we're here for a reason, and if we can help one another in humanity be the best we can be, because we are cells all in this thing called universe. It's our job to be the strongest cell we can, so we can serve the whole system well. It's like cells within our own body. So if we can do what we can to be the strongest we can be, then we can be strong for the whole system, not just for ourselves. And that comes down to the service, that comes down to the lives we lead. So thank you for that. And if we can take those messages away, I think we can all live a more purposeful and a more grateful and a more peaceful life, while we're here. So first of all, Vina, thank you for your time. I know you were super nervous, and I told you this was going to be a conversation between us, and I think that's how it's come across. Thank you for your honesty, thank you for your openness, and thank you for the insights that have given you the life you have today. I acknowledge the energy you bring to not just me but the whole family, and how you provide so much love and so much care to not just those around you but to yourself as well, because I think that's so important. So thank you for your time again today, and I'm sure there's so many more adventures that we're still going to go on yet. in life, and there's so much growing that we both still need to do. And I'm glad you will be a part of that journey with me. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Bhavik.
No worries.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
So this, this podcast was called Bigger Than the Hustle. Thank you for your time, for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you got something out of that as well. Let me leave you with these thoughts. Big energy leads to big thoughts. Big thoughts lead to big ideas. Big ideas lead to big actions. Big actions lead to a big life. So keep thinking big. Until next week, thank you. Thank you. Bye.
It's your journey and it's the person that you become. It's not really about achieving your goal, wherever that goal is.